Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing how Chelsea avoid late night drama in a six-goal thriller to progress into the next round of the FA Cup. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It goes a long way helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 297 subscribers. We're only 3 away from getting my main target, 300. Can we go and smash it? Hopefully we can. And yeah, I'll be absolutely over the moon. Just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and yeah, just want to say a massive thank you, really. But let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Now, Chelsea beat Wrexham 4-2 at the weekend, okay, to progress into the next round of the FA Cup. And for me, absolutely amazing scenes because this game had everything, didn't they? It had Wrexham taking the lead. It had, Wrexham going toe to toe with, the Premier League giants, okay, in Chelsea. Yeah, they had red cards, they had goals galore, they had so many chances in this game. This game probably was the best game to watch of the weekend, okay, for me, honestly. You know what I mean? Wrexham went toe to toe with Chelsea, like I've just mentioned, okay, and they just didn't look out of place, did they, whatsoever? Honestly, I do now believe I haven't watched that with Wrexham this season in the Championship, but give it a few years' time, and they'll be in the Premier League. That might be a big statement. I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, Wrexham fans, Championship fans, even Premier League fans. Are you gonna, are you a little bit worried? Are you a little bit worried, a little bit nervous about what you're actually seeing from this Wrexham side? Because they went in front. Okay, yes, Chelsea did score an equaliser, but then they got a second goal, didn't they? So from that point of view, they could have easily won the game if they could have just hold it out for another 10, 15 minutes. Wrexham, they could have potentially have won this game. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, Chelsea did fantastically well to get back into the game and win it as well. Ultimately they did have the better team, they got the better players, and that's probably where the Premier League proven quality outshone, the Championship players in Wrexham. But they can't be disappointed with what they've witnessed in this game today, can they, Wrexham fans? Honestly, that must have given so much hope and belief to the owners, to Ryan Reynolds, to Rob McInerney and whatever else. Hopefully, I pronounce his names right. Do apologise, but yeah. For me, when we talk about the game, just quickly, okay, let's talk about some of the goals anyway. I haven't even spoke about some of the goals, but you know, first goal, okay, from I'm pretty sure who was the player, Sam Smith, from the centre, started off from the centre back, literally lobbing it over the top, okay, past all of the Chelsea players, midfielders, midfielders, attackers, midfielders, defenders. That ball was basically like a goal kick from the defender, okay, lovely round the back, okay, and then Sam Smith just sort of, you know, runs onto the ball, okay, because runs straight past Tosun, runs and then Badashile sort of just tries to catch up to Sam Smith, but he couldn't do anything about it, and he just puts it straight past Sanchez and goal, okay, to make it 1-0 in the 18th minute. And at that point of view, you got to think to yourself, Chelsea were getting back into the game, 1-0 down. They were having a few chances here and there, and they did score the equaliser in the 40th minute, thanks to Garnacho, okay. He found the ball on the left-hand side. He cuts inside in the box, okay, and then his shot sort of, gets cleared off the line from the Wrexham centre-back. However, he literally passes it straight into the back of the Wrexham goalkeeper, okay, and the ball just rolls into the net to score the equaliser, basically. So it's an own goal from the Wrexham goalkeeper. A little bit unfortunate to concede an equaliser in that manner. They must have been so disheartened to concede that, because if the Wrexham defender could have just booted it the other way around, or booted it the other way, or booted it over the Wrexham goalkeeper, for example, it could have been 1-0 still. So it's those fine margins, really, isn't it? And then, right, the next goal came in the 78th minute. So, literally, this is why I said late night drama. Like, 5 goals happened in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Crazy scenes. Okay, Wrexham did so good to keep it 1-1 for the majority of the game. Honestly, they did. But, you know, Callum Doyle, he sort of gets. It's a bit of a weird one how he sort of claims the goal, but it wasn't really his goal. He got the deflection, and then the ball sort of just went past Robert Sanchez again. Obviously he started from a corner kick. The ball gets played outside the box to Windass. I'm pretty sure he boots it. His shot has a nice little deflection off Callum Doyle, and then the ball just rolls back into the net again. So a few deflections in this game, sort of a few weird goals for the equaliser and whatnot. But anyways, okay, Chelsea, pretty much came back into the game 3 minutes after, okay, 3, 4 minutes after, through Josh Akamumpong, who sort of, scores an absolute wonder strike into the top corner, okay. Nice little play from the Brazilian midfielder Sanchez. Nice little play from the Brazilian midfielder Santos, I'm pretty sure. He plays a nice little through ball into Josh Akamumpong, and he just boots it straight past the Wrexham goalkeeper. Okay, it was a little bit of a tricky one because it was at a tight angle. There was one or two Wrexham defenders around him, so it was a bit of a hard goal to score if you like, especially from a centre back. But he absolutely booted that into the back of the net, didn't he? So that was fantastic from him. 2-1 at this point. Uh, no, it was 2-2. It was 2-2 at this point. So you got to think to yourself, the momentum is probably with Chelsea to sort of get back and probably score a late winner, and that's exactly what they did, didn't they? Thanks to Garnacho again scoring his first goal of the game. Really, probably should have been his second if the own goal sort of if the own goal counted as his goal. But anyways, first goal of the game, okay, through Garnacho. Lovely delivery. Again, I think it was from either a corner or a set piece where the ball sort of gets played out from the on the right hand side corner, if you like. Lovely ball gets played into the box. Lovely cross into the back post. Okay, for Garnacho, and his volley goes straight past the Wrexham goalkeeper again. There was nothing he could do about it. You could probably say to yourself the goalkeeper's positioning was a little bit off. He probably should have been, a little bit more to the right hand side, so he could have got his leg or his arm to the ball. But Garnacho was never going to miss that chance. Okay, and for me, he probably was one of the better players in this game. Garnacho. He definitely did have something to prove, didn't he? And I was quite excited to see him in this game. But I didn't even mention, right, I totally forgot the red card. This happened 3 minutes before Garnacho scored the goal. Okay, so he probably was, he probably was, he probably was hurting from that. He probably wanted to get some revenge almost, and that was the best probably way he could get revenge because George Dobson sort of absolutely did a flying tackle on the Argentinian midfielder Garnacho, and then 3 minutes later he goes back and goes back down the other end and scores a goal to make it 3-2. So what an absolute amazing mindset to sort of get back into the game. Okay, he could have probably lost his head a little bit there, but he just didn't. He kept his cool and he scored a goal to get the potential winner of the game. However, there was a lot of controversy because as soon as Garnacho scored, Wrexham went down the other end. They had another corner, okay, fly into the box. Nice little header a nice little header from a Wrexham midfielder, okay, to the back post, and then Wrexham did score a third goal, okay, to make it 3-3. However, Chelsea got very fortunate. They got ruled offside. Okay, one of the players were offside. The person who did score the goal, so they got very fortunate in that point of view. So at this point, it was probably like 5 minutes left of the game with loads of added time because of everything that's happened in this game. All of the fouls, all of the injury time, and whatnot. Anyways, João Pedro scores in the 125th minute, okay, of the game, literally last minute of the game, okay. He scores to make it 4-2. And this goal was such a weird one just because I don't know what the Wrexham players were doing. They just wasn't closing down João Pedro fast enough. They were just letting him run forward and run into the box. And he sort of just takes a shot just outside the box, okay, and it just rolls into the back of the net. I think like I want to say like near post almost on that left hand side for the goalkeeper at least, anyways. But yeah, a weird goal. I don't know what the Wrexham players were doing. They probably should have closed them down a little bit faster. Maybe you probably say to yourself in the Premier League, if you played against the Premier League side, would they have closed them down a little bit faster? Maybe. I'm not too sure. Then again, it was the last seconds of the game, so they probably were absolutely dying on their feet a little bit, weren't they, the Wrexham players? So it probably was understandable. But you know, for me, I think that the better team probably did outshine them on the day. Chelsea in the last 10 to 15 minutes, I think they just showed the Premier League quality of the midfielders, of the attackers. They've just got more depth to them, haven't they? And it probably does go to show that Wrexham, even though they did lose, there's nothing to be disappointed about too much. They've had a good cut run. They're doing okay in the Championship, aren't they, to sort of survive this season. And I do reckon they can get Premier League football in the next 3 years. That's what I'm going to put out there as a big statement. What do you guys think in the comments down below? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments down below, Wrexham fans. I am so reassured. That performance gave me so much belief, okay, to say if they can get some more backing in the next coming years, get some more quality players in their side, okay, like they have done for the past 3 or 4 seasons since Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have taken over the club. I honestly do believe they're gonna cause a storm in the Premier League sometime soon. But yeah, if we talk about the FA Cup now, some big teams are still in it. Arsenal won, Man City won, Chelsea won as well, and they are 8-time Premier League. They are 8-time FA Cup champions, aren't they? Chelsea. So maybe they are underdogs that sort of win an FA Cup this season. For me, if you think about the manager Liam Rosenior, okay, he's done so good this. He's actually done so good since coming in, hasn't he? I don't think he's lost a game except from losing against Arsenal. I think they've lost against Arsenal this season like 2 or 3 times. So if they have to come up against Arsenal in the FA Cup, they might come a little bit unstuck and potentially lose that game. That might be a good clash. Could you imagine if that's a final clash where, Chelsea have to play Arsenal, and then Liam Rosenior will almost try and get some revenge in the final? That would be a very good clash. A final day. A final in the FA Cup. Maybe let me know in the comments down below if you want to see that. Who would beat each other in a head-to-head battle between Chelsea and Arsenal? Probably, I would have to say Arsenal. They are the best team in the Premier League, probably the best team in world football at the moment. Even though they do play a little bit boring football at times, they just know how to get the job done. They know how to get 3 points over the line. They know how to get a victory over the line and whatnot. But maybe Chelsea, I don't know what's more of a priority this season. Is it to get top 5 or is it to win a trophy? We'll have to wait and see. For me at the moment, they're still challenging for those top 5 positions. So I feel like you probably want to put all your eggs in that basket at the moment just to try and get Champions League football. But winning the FA Cup, does it get you Champions League football? I don't think it does. I think it gets Europa League football, doesn't it? So probably not. But yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? How do you feel about Chelsea in this late drama, getting in this scoring these 6-goal thriller, okay? Are they contenders to win the FA Cup? Would they want to focus on getting top 5 to get the Champions League football? How would you feel about Wrexham? Can they potentially get promoted to the Premier League in the next 3 to 5 years? Were you surprised with the performance? How were you surprised how they went toe to toe with Chelsea as well? It was a strong Chelsea side by the way. You know what I mean? It was pretty much their starting 11 as well. But yeah, was this the most exciting game of the weekend in the FA Cup? And yeah, who do you think will actually go on and win the FA Cup in total? Will it be the likes of an Arsenal, Man City, or a Chelsea, or will it be like an underdog team as well in there? We'll have to give it. We'll have to wait and see on that, of course. Anyways, but yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Goes along with having me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 297 subscribers. I just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, and also the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely to go unnoticed. And yeah, just want to say a massive thank you, really. And I do hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.